Human interaction in our AI-driven world is going to be more important for all of you than ever before, especially when you're trying to make age 50 to 75 the best years of your life. Because let's face it, there are a lot of changes happening in the world. And as we get older, some of these changes are harder to keep up with. They're harder to accept. Sometimes they're harder to deal with. However, when you're connected to a lot of people and you're having a lot of conversations, it's much easier to accept the changes that are coming. So if you've ever seen me speak or the work that I do, you know that I am really passionate about this idea of building community across generational lines for the good of your career, but also the good of your personal life. So my main keynote that I give to companies is called Uncommon Connections, because I really believe that having really important connections, not just likes, links, shares, and follows, I think that's really what matters. But it's called Uncommon Connection, Human Interaction, HI, in an AI-driven world. However, this isn't just about how to land the next job, how to get the next client, or how to build culture inside your company. Although when I speak in corporate America, those are sort of the areas that it gets focused on. However, for the purpose of this channel, I talk about how do you make age 50 to 75 the best years of your life. And I believe one of the most important things you can do is interact with people. However, I get a lot of comments on the videos that I make about building friendships after age 50, and they say it's hard. The one video on this channel that has gone absolutely crazy viral compared to all the others, I mean, most of them don't get that many views, but go and check out the one on what to do when you're ghosted by a friend. That video, I don't even know how many thousands of views it's had, but I continuously get comments. Some people are thanking me because they've been ghosted by a friend, and that video just kind of gives them a little perspective and makes them feel better. But other people freak out and they say, people suck. You know, you can't make friends when you're older. Of course, people ghost you. And I just think a lot of people are really jaded on the human interaction piece of life. And yet people, we're wired for human interaction. The people who really thrive and are the happiest are the ones who have long friendships and who are able to cultivate new friendships as they get older. So some of you know, if you've ever seen one of these videos or ever talked to me in person, that my father, my dad, he lived to be 99 years old. See, my dad was born in 1914 and he lived until the end of 2013, just shy, just several months shy of that 100th birthday. But here's the thing about my dad is he lived during the span of human evolution when it came to technology like no other time in history. In fact, I don't think there was probably ever in history a better 100 years to live in than that 1914 to 2013 span in which my dad lived. But here's the thing. My dad, he was a pretty happy guy. Up until the end, he lived on his own until he was 94. He was widowed when he was 70, and we thought, oh, well, he and my mom had a really good relationship, and my mom was super social, so we thought, oh, you know, what's dad going to do? Turns out my dad was a huge extrovert. It's just that my mom was an even bigger extrovert, so he just kind of let her drive their social life. But about a year after she died, after he'd recovered from losing his spouse, my dad became super active in the community. He joined the senior men's club. He joined 2 different bowling leagues. He had friends who he golfed with on Wednesdays and on Saturdays, 2 different groups of people. And he started dating. My dad didn't want to get remarried, and he, wasn't looking to sleep around with all these women. But my dad really believed in companionship, and he believed that sharing and getting to learn about people was really great. So we always had 3 or 4 different women. My brothers and I referred to them as the widows, who he always went and did things with. And like one of them had seats at the racetrack, and my dad liked to go to the racetrack. Another one liked to golf, so he'd go golfing with her. Another one liked to go out dancing, and my dad would do that. Another one liked restaurants. So he found different things that he had interests in, and he had done all those things with my mom. But in his later years, he just did it with a bunch of people. But people always said, how does he make new friends? How does he find new companionship at his age? Well, part of it was he just put himself out there. He showed up in the community. He liked to do things like play bridge or go for a hike or do whatever it was. So he put himself around active people, and he was able to make new friends. And I get all this pushback from people who go, oh, people will burn you. Yeah, there were people who screwed him over. There were people who didn't like him. But you know what? He didn't care about them. He cared about the next person he was going to meet who was going to be nice to him, was going to be cool. And I learned from my dad that all opportunities in life are going to come from people, and you just need to treat people well. So I really believe as we go into this age 50 to 75, which I think we can make the best years of our life, as we do that, we have to be willing to invest in people. And if you've been burned before, I know, I'm sorry, I've been burned too. Go watch that video on being ghosted by a friend. I got a doozy of a story of a person who just vanished, who then blamed everything on us. It was like, oh, they're so horrible, whatever. Yeah, for 20 years, we weren't any different than we've been. We didn't suddenly become horrible. But people are weird. People have their own stuff going on. So you just have to say, God love them, and realize that not everyone you meet is going to be a jerk. And if you're helpful and you're nice and you invest in people, some people are going to show up. But it takes time. Human interaction for a week isn't going to change your life and bring you all kinds of new friends. But I really believe that if you want to succeed in these later years, you need to find a way to get out there, find things to do. This morning, I went to a thing called the Boardwalk, and it's something that takes place in Austin, Texas. It's organized by a few people. They have a website. You can sign up on it if you live in Austin. And everybody meets at 8 o'clock. People socialize in the parking lot for about a half hour. And then everybody, and there was about 40 people. And first time I went, but people told me it was small. It's been going on for years. They go for a 5-mile walk around the lake. And you walk in groups of 2 or 3 and you talk, and then you change groups and you meet somebody new and you talk about whatever. My topic today was around this idea of cross-generational networking, which is something I speak about. And it's something when I do coaching with people who are looking to kind of reinvent themselves at this stage of life. One of the big things I ask them is how many friends, if you're in your 50s, how many friends, like go to lunch, have a drink, talk to them, exchange emails and ideas, who are in their 20s or 30s do you have? Sometimes people look at me like, what are you talking about? I don't have any friends who are in their 20s. That's my kid's age. Yeah, I would say one of my best friends right now is a guy who's 35 years old. I've known him for over a decade. Actually, 2 of my best friends are 35 years old. I've known them for over a decade. Started out, I was kind of their mentor, but over time we became friends, and I learned so much from them. And I get to see what's going on with their generation. And lots of times, people who are in their 50s or 60s are like, I don't even understand what's happening over here. But if you make friends with those people, it's going to happen. So my challenge to you, if you're watching this video, if you've watched it this far, and I know I'm kind of on a ramble on this video, but I know if you're watching it and you're wanting to kind of reinvent your life and make age 50 to 75 the best years of your life, my question is, what are you doing to create new interactions with people? What organizations are you joining? What are you getting involved with? What community events are you showing up with? And don't go in thinking it's all going to happen at once, because it takes 7 to 10 times of interacting with people, not before they're your friend, but before they even notice you exist. So like this morning, I went for this walk and there were a lot of people who knew each other because they've been going for a long time. Well, I can't go for like the next 3 weeks. So it's going to take me a time. If I go once a month, it's going to take me the whole year before people start going, oh, I've seen you here before. Tell me your story. What's going on? So you got to realize that you have to be committed to the idea of human interaction and investing in others if you want to have the benefit from having more people in your life. But as I started to say earlier, there have been study after study after study, including the famous one out of Harvard, where they looked at longevity and they looked at people's lives for 50 years. One of the key things that every study like this shows is people who have good relationships, ongoing relationships, people who volunteer, people who show up in their community, they live longer and they're more satisfied in their life. And the other thing is, it's not about money. All the studies show that the happiness index sort of goes out. It's not like after you cross $100,000 a year and start having more money, you're going to be happier. There's a part where you're happier, but then it doesn't make any difference. Money doesn't matter. After you've achieved just the basics, your happiness isn't affected by money. Your happiness is affected by people. One of the best compliments I ever got was from one of these friends of mine who's 35 years old. And I was going through a rough time. If you go back and watch the TEDx talk I did called I Did That, and you can find that at thomsinger.com. I went through some depression. I went through some really dark times, and I was worried. I was freaked out about money. I was freaked out about my career. This young guy said to me, of everybody I've ever met, you're rich in people. And that was several years ago, and it's totally stuck with me. And I think that that's a good thing. I think if you're rich in people, the rest of it's going to be okay. And if you don't feel you're rich in people, if you're watching this still at this point, take action to make something different happen. Ask yourself, how many organizations have I participated in for the last 3 years? If you've been participating and showing up for 3 years, you have to have some relationships, I would assume. And if not, go ahead and leave the comment. But if you're going to church and you're hanging out at the different things, if you're part of a walking group that meets every Saturday, if you're putting yourself out there and being nice and helping people and serving, there's no way, for the most part, you're not going to have some sort of a connection with somebody. So that's this video. It's about showing up and it's about interacting with people. And I think it makes all the difference in the world. So if you like this video, go check out all the others. If not, it's been a pleasure to have you with me for these few minutes. Have a great day.